Hey everybody, welcome back to In Bed with the Millennial. I'm the Millennial Javeda Bay, and this is my bed, and it is still April, which means it's still STI Awareness Month, and I want to make you aware. So today, we're discussing safer sex practices to minimize STI transmission, because last week, I told you what the STIs were, but like now, what can you do if you want to minimize the transmission? Engage in safer sex. And remember, safer sex, because there is no 100% guaranteed way to have safe sex. But there are things that you can do to just be a little bit safer. And we're going to talk about those. So that way you can just like have some peace of mind when engaging in sexual activity. Because STIs are just a fact of the matter of engaging in sexual activity with others. So let's get into it. Now, as I explained, there are two different types, curable and manageable treatable STIs. And so if you want to minimize the transmission of any of those, there's a few different things you can do. Obviously, barrier methods. We've all heard about condoms since freaking middle school, high school? Condoms work as a barrier method for oral sex of the penis, as well as penetrative sex with a penis or a toy. And there's a whole bunch out there. You've got condoms that are super thin and feel like they're not there. You have condoms that are made out of latex, condoms that aren't made out of latex. So many different options. There's also internal condoms, which are a lot harder to find, but those actually can go inside the vaginal canal or the anal canal, making it so that way you have protection that way without having to use an external condom. If someone's like, oh, condoms hurt me, I don't like condoms, you're like, okay, cool, you ain't gotta wear it, but I'm gonna wear it. So those are a barrier method that obviously work for any type of penetrative play or oral stimulation of the penis. But also that's a very limited number of activities. So what other things can you do for safer sex, especially when it comes to oral sex, considering that you can get STIs from oral sex, though so many of us heard through the grapevine growing up that that's not the case. And you can't get STIs from oral sex. You can. So if you are looking for safer sex methods for oral sex, there's two different things that I can recommend. The first one is dental dams. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of dental dams. I just say, for me, I'm going to show you what they look like, and then you'll probably understand why I'm not the biggest fan of them. But they come from the dental profession. It's literally what they were first used for. But they are literally just a latex rectangle that you would hold over whatever body part it is that you're engaging in oral stimulation in. So if it is oral of the vulva, you would place it over the vulva and just go to town like you normally would. And if it's anal oral stimulation, you would place it over the anus and again, just do your thing. But as you can see, you got to hold it, and it can be a little difficult to try and hold this and keep it open, which is why I am not the biggest fan of these things. Geez Louise, especially for someone like me who has nails, it would be so easy to just rip this. But they do come flavored, so that's nice. But yeah, they're really thin and you can just do your thing. But dental dams, they're an option. All other downside about dental dams though is that they too are hard to find, just like an internal condom. You can order them online. Some sex shops do carry them in store, but they are not the most readily available barrier method, which is why again, they're not my favorite. But if you are but Javay, I would really like something for oral sex that works as a barrier method. Don't fret. You know I got a recommendation. And it's my favorite thing. I swear, the minute these came out, I was like, I'm in love. They're called Lorals. They are latex underwear that are actually FDA approved as a barrier method for safer sex. Don't worry, I'm going to show you what they look like because, duh. But they are actually latex underwear that you wear just like you would normally wear any other underwear. But they work for actual oral stimulation, making it so that way you can still engage in all the fun that you want to have without having to worry about STIs, or if you want to engage in fun time while you're on your period. There's a whole slew of things you can do. But they work both for oral stimulation of the vulva as well as oral stimulation of the anus. You can wear them if you are someone that does have a penis, but you would have to have a flaccid penis to use these. You do not use them with an erect penis. But they are super stretchy and super thin, meaning that you can still feel everything like you normally would, and you would just wear them like normal freaking underwear. And there's you can either do the matte side or the inside of it is shiny. So if you have a preference for the way it looks, you got options. But these are going to be my biggest recommendation if you were looking for a barrier method for oral play. These right here, they stay in place. They're wide enough that they actually cover a fat poom poom. They're incredible. These are amazing. So if you're like, Javay, I need a barrier method, this is the one I'm going to recommend. And if you use this code and you go to this website, you can actually get your own, and they come in 2 different styles. This is the shorty. It's like a little bit of like a boy short cut. And then there's also a bikini cut, and those are actually sheer. So if you really want to see what's going on, that's a great way to do it. But yeah, Lorals are literally my number one recommendation when people are looking for a barrier method for oral play. And then another safer sex practice that I highly recommend, using lube. And you might be like, Javay, how is using lube a safer sex practice? Well, one, it's going to minimize friction. And this is important because friction can lead to micro tears and fissures and things of that nature, which make you more susceptible to contracting an STI. So use lube, make it so that way it's not like sandpaper going in and out of you and all over your body. Make it so it's a nice gentle glide and things feel really good. Also, lube is just incredible at making things feel phenomenal. But yeah, you're going to want to use lube as a safer sex practice. I promise you. Other safer sex practices include good hygiene. Good hygiene. One more time. Good hygiene. Actually knowing how and properly washing your body. Yeah, and that's not just your genitals. That also includes your fingers, actually cleaning under your fingernails, brushing your teeth, all that jazz. Hygiene is important because you use different parts of your body on different parts of bodies. And it's important that those parts of the body are also good before they interact with other parts of the body. And then the last safer sex practice is going to be STI testing. And this is extremely important because this is how you really know. Like, sure, we can have gut feelings about things, but don't you want the peace of mind to know? I'm like, yeah, I'm all good. I got tested. We can go to Pound Town. We can use barrier methods. We can not use barrier methods. You can make a lot more decisions about your sex life if you actually know things. So STI testing is extremely important. And there's a lot of different ways to go about it. More and more brands are coming out and offering like at-home testing kits, going to your doctor's an option. So many different things that you can do around STI testing. But it is also important that when you are getting STI tested, you are getting triple site swabbed. And you might be like, I've never heard of that, Javay. No one's ever done that to me. Okay, well, now you're going to know what it is. And that is actually when you go in for STI testing and you get your normal stuff. So you get your blood drawn and a urine sample is given. But you're also going to have them swab your throat, your vagina or the tip of the penis, and your anus, because you can contract STIs in all of those different areas. And depending on the type of STI, it might not show up from just a urine sample or a blood test. So swabbing is extremely important for making sure you are getting the full spectrum of STI testing and you can make the best choices for you and your sex life. And it's also important to recognize like the schedule that you should keep when it comes to STI testing, because it's not just like a one and done thing. You should regularly get STI tested because you're engaging in sexual activity with different people. STIs don't always show up immediately. So if you're someone that's engaged in more casual sex, the recommendation is every 3 to 6 months. If you're someone that's in a long-term monogamous relationship, the recommendation is at least once a year. And a lot of people are always like, but we're in a monogamous relationship. Like, I trust them. You can trust them. And also you should still be doing your due diligence of making sure that everything is all good with you. Because as I just said, not all STIs show up immediately. So make sure you are getting STI tested. And if you want, we're going to dig deeper into like how to have the conversation around STI testing next week. So make sure you come back for that. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel because again, there's a wealth of knowledge here and I just want you to have access to it. And definitely make sure you subscribe to my email newsletter and follow me on all the social media platforms because that's where I offer so much more information as well. But yeah, that is that. Make sure you come back next week so I can help you figure out how to actually talk about STIs with partners. And yeah, until then, I'm going to see you later. Deuces.